In 1981, Ronald Reagan was elected President of the United States. President Reagan knew that he was going to be leading a country that was fearful and suspicious of communist regimes and generally disapproved of major foreign entanglements with communist governments or countries attempting to overthrow communist regimes. Reagan acknowledges this in his inaugural address.
To those neighbors and allies who share our freedom, we will strengthen our historic ties and assure them of our support and firm commitment. We will match loyalty with loyalty. We will strive for mutually beneficial relations. We will not use our friendship to impose on their sovereignty, for our own sovereignty is not for sale. Our forbearance should never be misunderstood. Our reluctance for conflict should not be misjudged as a failure of will. Above all, we must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and courage of free men and women. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors.
Casper, the Sandinistas have taken over Nicaragua and are imposing a communist regime.
First things first, what about the hostages in Lebanon?
Why are all of these issues occurring at the same time?
Well, as we speak, tensions between Iraq and Iran are increasing as the war continues.
Okay, you don't think I know that, Robert? So what is your point?
Well, Iran could really use our help. They have the connections we need to get our hostages. What if we exchange weapons for the hostages?
Congress would never approve.
Do we need to involve Congress? I think I could have an idea that could make all three parties happy.
Third party? Us, Iran, and who else?
Well, rebel groups in Nicaragua have come together to form the Contras, whose goals are parallel with the ideals that we wish to install within Nicaragua. However, Congress has not approved such support, in fear that it may deter public opinion of our federal government. So, along with the Iran situation, we have to go around Congress. Let's solve both situations in a single solution.
So, how would you suggest that we get around Congress?
Well, what if we made it indirect support? Iran could make the perfect front for our support. Our weapons are worth way more than 7 hostages. After we exchange our weapons for the hostages that are being held in Lebanon, Iran will still owe us a great deal of money. However, the profits from this don't all have to reach us, and the majority can go to aid the Contras in overthrowing the communist regime in Nicaragua.
Wow, what a plan. I guess a sale of arms would improve U.S. relations with Iran and Lebanon. That would increase our influence in the Middle East.
So you like the idea?
Well, it's definitely not a bad idea, but for the record, I don't want to be a part of this. I think you should talk to the president, because if we're not going to have Congress approve it, you should have someone who could actually do something about this and make it happen. Like the president. He's good.
So we get the hostages, and your presidency remains untarnished.
Well, it's a good thing you approached me, because this type of exchange is impossible without support from either myself or Congress, as otherwise Iran would not trust such a proposition. What if we sold the weapons to the CIA? They have strong relations with Israel, so they could get the weapons there, and then Israel could fly them into Iran. It's untraceable.
But what about the Contras? You believe in their cause, right, Mr. President?
Yes, Lieutenant Colonel. Supporting future allies in our hemisphere is very important in this day and age. I'll see what I can do. However, you have to recognize that I can't take care of these transactions personally. It'll set off too many red flags.
Who could take care of them?
I'm sure with some persuasion, Casper could take care of it.
So what are you wearing? Oh, really?
Let me guess, Jake from State Farm again? These are your transaction documents as you requested.
Thank you, Jill. Well, I guess it's time for my daily diary. Dear Diary, I finally got the official transcripts today. Things have gotten a lot messier than I thought. This was a one-time only ordeal, but apparently that's not true. We have to be careful not to push past our limits.
In July 1985, the U.S. sent 508 American-made anti-tank missiles from Israel to Iran for the safe exchange of an American.
This just in. Today, an airplane was shot down by the Sandinistas in Nicaragua. Oh, really? Wow. The plane. Oh my gosh, it had supplies meant for the Contras that had been sent by the United States. Oh, wow. Congress. Oh, no. It was aware that the money had been sent to the Contras. Oh, wait. No, it wasn't. We will report again with new information. Okay. Yeah, we've recently been told that the executive branch of the government, U.S. government, was not only aware, but they were in charge of the transaction. Not only was the government spending money on the Contras, but they were also selling weapons through Israel to Iran in an attempt to make the Iranian government, release the American hostages.
Mr. President, are the rumors true?
We did not, I repeat, did not trade weapons or anything else for hostages.
That is
nor
enough.
will we.
That's enough. That's enough.
Congress performed a near top-to-bottom examination of the scandal. This search, however, did not lead to the uncovering of much evidence, as it soon became evident that the Reagan administration had shredded, burned, and torn up many pertinent documents.
Fawn, come help me shred these documents.
Okay.
That Congress finally managed to get its hands on was a diary of Caspar Weinberger, who foolishly had documented nearly his entire involvement along with the involvement of others. Colonel North tried to get off the hook by blaming his involvement on his supervisor, Robert McFarlane, and later John Poindexter. In doing so, he admitted not only his involvement in the scandal, but also information such as the discrepancy in funds that Attorney General Edwin Meese discovered.
So you shredded documents before they got there.
I would prefer to say that I shredded documents that day, like I do on all other days, but perhaps with increased intensity. That's correct.
No further questions, Your Honor. What began as a strategic opening to Iran deteriorated in its implementation into trading arms for hostages.
In the end, 14 administration officials were indicted, including then Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger. 11 convictions resulted, some of which were vacated on appeal. The rest of those indicted or convicted were all pardoned in the final days of the presidency of George H.W. Bush, who had been vice president at the time of the affair.
The common denominator of their motivation, whether it was right or wrong, was patriotism.
While probing the question of the arms for hostages deal, Attorney General Edwin Meese discovered that only 12 million of the 30 million Iranians reportedly paid had reached the government. Then unknown Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North of the National Security Council explained the discrepancy. He had been diverting funds from the arms sales to the Contras, with the full knowledge of National Security Advisor Admiral John Poindexter and with the unspoken blessing he assumed of President Reagan.